Hello. This project was to develop a realistic system that me and my family could use to grow fresh produce with very minimal effort throughout the year. And I just started learning how to garden earlier this year. This came from reading about the amounts of different time, money, and space that was needed to grow even something as simple as a salad garden. Looking online, there were some confusing charts about what to plant and when to plant them, as well as what you could and couldn't plant them next to. There were specifics about square foot gardening, and most of the feeding charts and about hydroponics were primarily about cannabis. So my goal is going to be to create 70% of the vegetables that we would need here in the house. On average, for us, it's going to be 7 servings daily, so 49 servings per week. It's going to be different for different age groups and males and females. But then I'm doing 70% of that. I only need to produce 34.5 servings. Give you an idea what servings are. It's 2 cups of raw vegetables like greens, 1 tomato, half a cucumber, things like that. Now for the parameters, again, I wanted to kind of contrast the idea of how much you needed to put into this. So I wanted to have minimal effort, less than an hour a week, minimal ongoing costs. I want to spend less than $20 a month after I put in the initial investments, and then minimal space. I want this to be something small enough that somebody can stick in a garage or in a corner of their house, so less than 16 square feet. From that, we go into the different crop selections. What could I run in the system? I knew that I wanted to run lettuce, so I went with the Cornell University's Hydroponic Lettuce Handbook. I wanted to take their large commercial scale and bring it down to something smaller, more along the lines of like a microgreen tray system. All the crops right there in the middle are ones that I actually was successfully able to grow here in the system, although there were many others that I did try. As far as the hydroponic techniques I wanted to try, first off was going to be the NFT, or nutrient film technique. It's a recirculating water system. You can put lots of plants in there, very low water power usage. It is a pretty involved system to put together, and it's expensive to put together, but it can also be aerated if you want it to be. Deep water culture also is a low power and water use machine with also low maintenance. Lots of aeration with a air stone directly under the plant, and usually though it is 1 plant per bucket, but since it's about the size of, or is a 5-gallon bucket, you can fit a lot of them together in a moderately small space. Crack Hue is the last one that I wanted to try out. Essentially, it's supposed to be a set and forget style. I filled up a mason jar with a net cup and put the plant in there and just kind of left it outside. It says it should be 30 days, but I'll let you see. The left is when I put it in, and on the right was 60 days later. So it didn't grow much, but it's a great technique if you just want to keep a plant alive. Coming to build the room, I did try a few different styles. I decided I didn't really like a flood tray, but I did like vertical designs. So I went with that and kind of even dismantled the hydroponic NFT system that I bought, and even added a trellis system above the deep water cultures. And how to keep this all maintained. The lettuce had a 65-watt, 6,500 Kelvin LED panels. There were 4 of them, hung about 3 to 6 inches from the canopy. The suggested growing time for the lettuce was about 10 to 14 hours of light on, pH 5.8, ppm about 800, and the EC around 1.2. The larger deep water culture crops that I had, like tomatoes and peas, they had a higher full spectrum LEDs hung just a few inches from the top of that trellis, 18 light hours on, and that recommended to have up to 2000 ppm and EC of 1.5 for those crops. In addition, I did find that to 2 tablespoons of hydrogen peroxide, adding it to about solution of 1000 ppm, which 300 of that was from the municipals, and an EC of 1.3 and a pH of 6.5, and 16 hours of light was a good balance for all of the different plants in there. But I would say that probably a bit more would be needed for all the things in the deep water culture. This was used to keep track of all those measurements for the pH and the nutrient solution. This kept track of my temperatures and relative humidity throughout different areas within this garden. This was the Google Home device that actually kept track of the timers for the lights and the fans, and could even help remove out the air. It could turn on the vents if I needed to, but I try to keep everything at around 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, and the deep water culture around 75 degrees Fahrenheit. The RH overall in the environment was between 60 to 70%. Came into germination, I wanted to find a reliable way to plant the seeds, but it was also really efficient. It's really where I spent a lot of the testing in this. I did find that just because it was the easiest plant didn't necessarily mean it was going to be the easiest to transplant into the system down the line. I did, though, find that putting it in perlite and then transferring it into the foam cups was the easiest way to do it overall. The schedules now. So I found that Friday was best for a harvest day. I would harvest a full row of the greens, so it could be lettuce, romaines, and spinaches and such, usually 6 of them to pull. I would just cut them off. The organic material would go into compost. The foam and the cups would drop into what I call the wash bucket, which was essentially just a cleaning solution of hydrogen peroxide and water. Let them sit into there. Then on Saturdays, I would move the plants around essentially one step forward in the system. So from the seedling trays into the first tight row in the NFT system. And then from there, they would step back into separated channels so they'd have more space to grow. I'd also move 4 of each of the best looking propagals into that system, as well as move the old media into that wash bucket and start a new bucket of nutrient solution. So on Sundays, they did alternate, but one Sunday I would be planting. So I'd be planting 6 of the different greens. And on the other day would be cleaning. So I'd wash out those reservoirs, the net cups and the media. I'd also refill out of the nutrients and add the water to the germination trays. Most all of this in combination, like I said, was maybe 20 minutes in total throughout the entire week. So the ongoing cost target was $20 a month, and I found that the average was about $26 a month. So it was about $6 over the goal. Target for labor was 1 hour. Like I said, though, everything could be done in less than 30 minutes, so more than half of the time reduced. 12 heads of lettuce with 3 varieties to eat from throughout the week, still harvesting 6 of them at the end of the week, which generally we ended up giving away. We just had so much. Each head weighed on average about 85 grams, which was a total of about 85 grams from those 6 heads. Plus, then we did have whatever we ate off of that, but at best, that's only about 10% of the targeted goal if we were only eating the greens, which we would need 5,000 grams to hit that many servings. So all in all, we didn't hit that. Though, even though this experiment did disprove this original hypothesis, I do believe with some more time it could have gotten there. I spent so much time working on the design, the environment, the different hydroponic and germination methods that there was not really enough time for the plants to really mature enough to get the harvest from them. I literally have tomatoes, peas, and even cucumbers on the way. Even though I didn't get the production goal for the project, I would still call it a success for our family. We could have eaten salads every day and still had plenty of extras. It gave me a great hobby and something to go work on. And I still plan to continue evolving and building onto the system by adding in plenty of space to the vertical growth. Thank you.